Hi everyone, this is your 12-1 lesson on trigonometric functions and right triangles. Today's notes we're going to go over how to solve for the sides and angles in a right triangle if we're given specific lengths or angle measures within the triangle. The first thing you need to remember is the three basic trigonometric functions. Remember, a function takes an input and gives you an output, and these are just the same. The difference is that the input for a trig function we call theta, which means an angle measure. Theta is a Greek symbol. We always use it to measure angles. And so we're not inputting x, which usually means a length. We're inputting an angle, and what we're going to get out, so this is my input, what we're going to get out is a ratio. So the output is a ratio. Remember, a ratio is just comparing two sides or two numbers. In this case, two sides of the triangle. So sine, cosine, and tangent do the same thing. They just compare or give you the ratio of different sides of the triangle. So that's what the mnemonic SOHCAHTOA represents. Sine is the opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is the adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over adjacent. And we'll review how to label those when we get to the first problem. Three new functions that you may not have heard before are cosecant, secant, and cotangent. These three are called your reciprocal functions. The reciprocal comes from the fact that all you do is you take the ratio from a corresponding trig ratio and you flip it. So cosecant corresponds to sine, because to get its ratio, you just do the hypotenuse divided by the opposite side. Secant corresponds to cosine, and cotangent corresponds to tangent. Because of that principle, we have ways that we can convert from one trig ratio to another, namely by performing a reciprocal operation. Dividing any ratio into 1 gives us its reciprocal. So if I take sine and I divide it into 1, that is technically giving me the cosecant ratio. Same thing for cosine and tangent with secant and cotangent. So these identities, just circle them. They'll be important later on when we're talking about how to simplify trig expressions. And then the last thing we're going to review is our special angles. So 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90. These pop up all the time on the SAT and the ACT. These are almost always given in the formula bank. So be comfortable with seeing these and know what they're talking about. All they're doing is they're saying that these triangles in particular have very easily recognizable ratios that are really easy to memorize. So if you have a 30-degree angle, we always consider the side opposite of that x. It's the shortest side. So in both examples, the shortest side is what you should start with. That's your x. The hypotenuse is going to be twice as long as that side. And the longer leg, the one across from 60, is going to be that smaller leg times the square root of 3 to make it just a little bit longer. Okay? For 45, 45, 90, you have an isosceles triangle, meaning that the two sides are the same. So because they're both the smallest side, we'll label them both x. And your hypotenuse is just one of those sides, whichever one, they're the same, times the square root of 2. And because this ratio exists for all 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90 triangles, we can set up all of our trig ratios very easily just by taking the angle and looking at the sides across. So for example, let's take the cosine of 60 degrees. The cosine of 60 degrees, if this is my 60-degree angle, the opposite side, the adjacent side for cosine would be x. The opposite side would be x squared root of 3, and the hypotenuse would be 2x. So to find the cosine of 60 degrees, I would take the opposite side. I keep saying opposite. I would take the adjacent side and divide it by the hypotenuse. So for the cosine of 60 degrees, you would take x and divide it by 2x, which will always reduce to 1/2, which is why we know that the cosine of 60 degrees, no matter what triangle, is always a 1:2 ratio. Okay, it's the same for all 6 of these. And it's the same for the 3 of these here for 45, 90 triangles. Okay. And then the Pythagorean theorem is just a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you may not even need to use trig ratios if you're just solving for sides. And that's actually our first practice problem. So we're going to jump right in. For letter A here, We're given a right triangle. The directions say to find the measure of each side. They're not asking about the angles. So if I just need to find the third side and I have 2 already given, I can just set up using Pythagorean. Just remember that A and B have to be your shorter legs. So 5 squared plus 12 squared, that's A and B, doesn't matter which order, equals the longest side x squared. If you know your Pythagorean triples, this is a Pythagorean triple, 5, 12, 13. But if you don't, you can always solve for it anyway. This is going to be 169 equal to x squared. And then we square it both sides, we get that x equals 13. And we're only going to use the positive solution. So normally in algebra, we would list 2 solutions for x because we could have negative numbers. Can't really have negative numbers in geometry, so we're going to leave that as a positive 13 side length. For letter B, very similar. We have 7 squared plus x squared equals my longest side, 14 squared. Just make sure you don't always stick the x as c. X is a or b in this case because it's the one of the legs. So as I solve for x, this is 49 plus x squared equals 196. If I subtract the 49 over, I get x squared equals 147. And so my final answer would be x is going to equal the square root of 147. Now you may think that that's it, but you should double check that there's no perfect square factors. So we're going to look for factors of this. 3 is actually a factor. 3 times 49 is a factor. Oh, so this actually can be reduced. The square root of 3 times the square root of 49 reduces to 7 times the square root of 3. Make sure you reduce your radicals. And it didn't ask for us to round, so we're going to leave that as the exact answer, 7 square root of 3. We're going to leave C for you guys to try on your own. The answers are posted to Canvas. We're going to do that for each of the examples following. For example number 2, this time we're not looking for, we don't have 2 sides to solve for the third, so we can't use Pythagorean theorem to solve for x here. But I do have an angle this time. They gave me 60 degrees. So using this as my theta, if this is my angle, this would be the hypotenuse. It's pretty easy to tell. It's across from the 90 degree. And then 22 would be opposite of 60 degrees, right? It's not, this is the adjacent side that touches the vertex. This is the opposite side. This side does not touch the vertex of the angle at all. So looking at this, if this is opposite and this is hypotenuse, I need to figure out the sine ratio for 60 degrees. Now, if it's not a special angle, you can resort to your calculator, but 60 degrees is actually one we should know. So if I refer back up above, the sine of 60 degrees is one of our easy to remember ratios. The sine of 60 degrees is the square root of 3 over 2. So I can plug that in right here for the sine. So that's what this represents, the ratio square root of 3 over 2. And I'm going to see, okay, well, if my side length is actually 22 for the opposite side, how can I use this ratio to figure out what the actual hypotenuse is? Well, they should be the same ratio. So if you set up the ratios equal, all you have to do is cross multiply. So 2 times 22 is 44. And that should equal x times the square root of 3. Okay, so I'm going to move that over here. 44 equals x times the square root of 3. We'll divide the radical over. And normally we would want to rationalize this, but because the directions say to round to the nearest tenth, all we have to do is type this in our calculator and approximate. So x is going to be approximately, if you do 44 divided by the square root of 3, you get 25.4. Okay, let's look at letter B. 52 degrees. This is my theta this time, and it's not a special angle, so I'm going to need to use the calculator on this one. But let's go ahead and set up the equation. 52 degrees is my theta, x is my opposite side. 6 is not the hypotenuse, it's the adjacent side. The hypotenuse is over here, but I don't really need it or know it, so I'm not going to label it. And so if I need the opposite side and I know the adjacent side, I need to use opposite over adjacent, which is tangent. So we're going to say the tangent of 52 degrees is equal to the ratio of the x side divided by the 6 side. So to solve for x, I multiply both sides by 6. So 6 times the tangent of 52. So there's no fast way to figure out the tangent of 52 other than to type it in your calculator. So in your calculator, you would type 6 times tangent of 52 degrees. If you have a reverse entry, you might have to type in 52 first and then hit tangent and then hit times 6. Practice with it. Your result should be approximately, because we're still rounding to the 10th, 7.7. And make sure you use an approximate symbol. Okay, again, leaving 6 for you to try on your own and check your answers later. Example number 3. In these examples, we're actually looking for an angle now. So the unknown value of x is actually my theta. So I do not know theta, but I know 2 of the sides. Again, I'm not interested in finding the hypotenuse, but I know that the opposite side of theta is the 15, and the adjacent side is 8. So this tells me, knowing the opposite and the adjacent side, to use tangent. So we're going to write, now remember, you always have to write an angle after your trig ratio. So tangent is my function. What am I inputting? I'm inputting the angle theta that I do not know. So we're going to use a variable when we do not know it. And that should equal 15 to 8. Okay, so to solve this, we need to reverse the input with the output. Anytime you reverse the input with the output, you're using an inverse function. So the inverse tangent function allows me to input the output, basically, and it will tell me what the angle is. Okay, so in your calculator, you would type the inverse tangent, second tangent button, 15 divided by 8, make sure you include those in parentheses so that it does the division before taking the inverse tangent, and then you should get 61.9 degrees. Okay. B and C are almost identical. They just use different functions. So we'll just quickly review that this is the opposite side for 6. This is the hypotenuse for 14. So you should use your sine function to solve for x in this one. Okay? And it will be 6 over 14. I'll leave the rest for you to practice on your own. Again, the answers are posted to Canvas. If you have a special triangle and you want to find all the side lengths, it goes very quickly. Because this is a 45-45, I know that these angles are congruent, which means these sides are congruent, and I can fill in that this is a 90-degree angle. All angles add up to 180 in triangles. So if I use my ratios, this is x, and this is x times the square root of 2. Fill in the ratio expressions from above, and then just solve. So if x is equal to 8, that means x is equal to 8 over here, which means this is 8 times the square root of 2 down below. So those are your solutions, 8, 8, and 8 square roots of 2. In this example, be careful, because even though it's 45-45, and this hypotenuse is x square root of 2, your x values can have radicals in them. So my x's right here are both 5 square roots of 6. You need to take 5 square roots of 6 and multiply the whole thing by the square root of 2. So just to review how to multiply radicals, 5 square roots of 6 times the square root of 2, because this is your x. You just multiply straight through the radicals. So if it's a radical 6 times a radical 2, that's 5 radical 12. Make sure you simplify. This is 5 radical 4 times radical 3. This is 5 times 2 times radical 3. So the final answer for this side is 10 square roots of 3. Okay. Lastly, 30, 60, 90. I always start with the smallest angle. So if this is my 30 degree, I'm going to mark this side, and the opposite side is the single smallest one that just gets an x. The hypotenuse is always twice as big, 2x, and the longer leg is x square root of 3. So pair up what you do know. I know that the longest side, the hypotenuse, is 10, and that has to equal 2x. So that means x is equal to 5. And then I can just plug that x in for all the other sides. So x is 5, so that means this side is 5, and this side is 5 square roots of 3. Okay. Do the same for b and c here. This is my 30. This would be x square roots of 3. And this side should be 2x. So don't let the radicals confuse you as to where you put everything. And that's it for this first lesson. Check Canvas to see the solutions to all the problems that we went past. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email. Have a great night.